Welcome back to the Apiros movement vitamins. I believe this will be video number 6. Doesn't really matter either way, it's coming to you. This one's going to be all about feet. And so part of my idea with this whole thing behind movement vitamins is what are these little supplemental movements or things we can do for our body that are useful for everybody at any age, any talent level in sports, any sport, anything that's just useful for the human body in today's modern age. So let's start outside and work in. So first for shoes, I'm a big fan of these New Balance Minimus, and why that is you can see they're roughly a 0 drop, meaning the same thickness in the heel is the same as the toes. And part of the reason why I like these shoes also is that the toe box, where the box of the shoe where your toes go in, is wide enough for my toes to really splay out. And then also they have a little bit of cushioning. I know it's really popular for everybody to go barefoot these days and get back to our roots or whatever, but realize that's also if the surface we are on is also soft enough for our foot. So I think these create a pseudo barefoot environment for my foot inside the shoe while giving me somewhat of a padding in between my body and something like this, concrete. And then secondly, the shoe doesn't really matter if the sock is so tight around your toes that your foot can't splay out and toes can't operate as they should. And so a lot of my socks are toe socks. The ones that aren't toe socks, because these can get pretty pricey, I really like a Puma high top sock, and that's just habit. I like the way they look, but mainly because the part around the toes is actually quite loose and stretchy, almost like a dress sock. And so that's why I would encourage you to surround your foot in is something that's loose and allows it to operate as it should. Even then, there's still some maintenance that we can do for our feet. I try to wear flip-flops a little bit more often than other shoes when I can, and barefoot when I can. But even flip-flops will create quite a big gap between the second toe and the first toe. And so that's some of the stuff that I want to discuss today, and things that you can do with your feet so that you can regain control of your feet, and as well as have them function a little bit better for you. All right, so now you're going to get a little bit of a point of view, reference point of how you'll be looking at your feet. So something that I like to do at home and I walk around in despite them saying not to are these yoga toe type deals. I don't actually know exactly what they're called. In the email link that you'll get, I'll provide a link for these. I like these because of how wide they are. And so this is kind of your minimal viable product. You can kind of just hang out at home, watch Netflix, play video games, whatever, do homework or work, and have your toes spread out a little bit more. And what I find this does is it removes just a little bit of the obstacles that we face in regaining some of the control of our foot. However, what I prefer to do is actually use my hand. And so I will interlace my fingers in between each toe. And I've got quite thick fingers, and so this is a bit more intense than the yoga toes. And what I really want to try and avoid is not getting all the way down to the bottom of the knuckle. For our purposes, we're trying to actually splay out the bones in here. And one way we can do that is by really making sure we're at the bottom of the knuckle. And notice that your fingers will taper, that by the fingernail, it's going to be thinnest. So start maybe at the fingernail. And then once you're in there, just feel out what moves you can do, what feels good for you. you're gonna have to readjust a few times. Sometimes if I don't feel like moving it around, I'll just wedge my hand in here and keep it there. I really like going up and down and lots of twisting. I might anchor the heel down with my hand. No specific way we really need to worry about that, but just try and move just the front edge of my foot. And so this will be quite intense at first, and then this should get easier and easier. And then after that, the control I want you to try and regain is going to be, I want you to be able to control almost each toe independently. I want you to be able to splay them out and have an equidistant separation between each toe. And you'll notice the difference between my left foot and my right foot. I've gotten a lot better at my left foot, or my right foot, sorry. But my left foot, I still have this huge gap here. And so I really need to work on creating that control there. And I don't really care how you do it. You can use your finger at first and just hold it, or even just create a little bit more separation here. I find just getting any sort of the experience, even assisted, is useful. And then eventually you might be able to start wiggling it. And this is just a learning experience for you. You don't have to get there at any certain time, but ideally, at some point, we just continue to improve the quality of your foot over time, so it looks something like my right foot over here. Then, or another option you may do at any order, is can you keep it wide and just pump the ankle without the toes moving? And so what we want to avoid is lifting the foot up or bending the ankle by excessively using the toes. I find this to be really, really common with a lot of athletes, especially basketball players, football players, soccer players, who spend a ton of time in small shoes with a lot of change of direction. And so we want to return some of the intrinsic control of bending the ankle without needing to utilize the toes to do so. And so this is going to require quite a bit of brain power. You might not be able to binge watch Netflix and do this at the same time, so just dedicate a little bit of practice to it, and then eventually you can divide your attentional resources and feel your foot as you watch something else. All right, so hopefully by now your foot's feeling pretty good. What I really like to do is do it all on one foot and then stand and feel the difference between my left foot and my right foot. That being said, go about this however you want. It's an exploration of feeling and awareness for you. I really think improving the way our foot can move and restoring some of its functionality will improve the way we communicate with the earth. That being cooperating with gravity, transferring our force into the earth and receiving the forces back from the earth. Remember, every action has an equal and or opposite reaction. So if the way you communicate into the earth with your foot is dissipating some energy, you may be putting a ton of force into the earth and not receiving it back. And then that being said, it's not a chicken or the egg argument here. It's not about your foot is the issue and that's what's going to clear up your hip. That's the cause, and then the hip will be the effect. It's not the chicken or the egg, it's poultry. It's a whole system. If there's something that's maybe tweaked with your foot, right foot or left foot, chances are you'll notice other tweaks that you can make in the rest of your body. So I don't think of it as that myopically, it's much a big picture system here. So that being said, explore, do what feels right for you. Use common sense with this, listen to your body. If your body's telling you, hey, don't do this, scale it back a little bit. Maybe you just start with the toe separators, maybe you just start with the fingertips, maybe you just start with trying to wiggle your toes around in every direction and improve the control you have of your ankle. Either way, this is your journey, your movement vitamin. Take some ownership in it, and thanks for watching.